Hi, girls. Welcome to Champion Chats. Our guests today are a duo of champion sisters, Olivia and Caitlin Murray. How are you? How's the, I don't know,
Hi.
quarantine life? Tell me a little bit what's going on.
We live in Northern Ireland, and so it's a complete lockdown. We're not allowed out of our house at all, only to go to the supermarket or for medical reasons. So it's crazy time to be alive.
Yeah, I know. So what do you guys do every day? What's like your normal routine now?
We usually get up and get breakfast and probably do a practice for an hour, and then we'll get on with some schoolwork for 4 hours, and then we'll do another practice and maybe some fitness.
Okay, you guys are doing much more than I am. I'm getting up and I'm like at like noon. I'm thinking, okay, I should probably eat, and then I'll head outside for a run, and then I'll just sit and watch Netflix for the rest of the day. And that
my schedule's a little bit different to hers. I'm not really dancing as much as her. So I'm a maths teacher, so I've been very lucky. I've been able to help them with their schoolwork, and I've been just doing my own kind of fitness. I haven't been dancing as much as Caitlin.
it's different for everybody, you know.
Yeah.
Let's just get into it a little bit. You're our first sister duo on the Champion Chat series, which is very exciting. Let's start off like we normally do by going over what you have each accomplished, what titles you've achieved. So we'll go youngest to oldest. Caitlin, you want to go first?
Yeah. Well, I've won the Ulsters 4 times, the All Scotlands 3 times, the JBs 3 times, the Irish Nationals 4 times, the North American Nationals once, British Nationals twice, and the Worlds twice.
Wow. And how old are you?
13 now. I just had my birthday.
Amazing. You're amazing. And Olivia?
Whenever I was 12, I had never been on a podium, I don't think even. So I've been very lucky. I won 15 major titles. So I've won my regionals once, and I've won the Irish Nationals, the British Nationals, the All Scotlands, GBs, the American Nationals.
So still amazing.
Yeah, and I've won the
World Is there any title that between the two of you that you haven't won?
Yeah,
the All Irelands. We have this thing. We're so unlucky.
Me, I've won every title except the All Irelands. I just could never do it. I don't know.
Yeah, but you end up winning the Worlds after. It's like
it's fine. Okay, so we've received so many shout outs and kind words for you both about it in our stories. And we also received some amazing questions. There were a bunch of them on training, and Caitlin, you shared a little bit about what you're doing right now. But I think it's a really great place to start because it ties nicely into our mission of uncovering the mental and physical stressors that everyone experiences, but we don't talk about enough. So I want to start with this question. Yeah. What's the hardest part about training for a major competition?
Definitely mental. I think it's nearly not easy, but it's easier to train physically because you go to class and your teacher is getting you in shape and you're doing what you can at home. But at the end of the day, when you're on the stage, it's all mental, you know, it's keeping everything together and getting everything, all the work you've done, getting it out across to the audience. So that's the toughest thing, I think. What do you think?
The same you.
Yeah. It's the pressure on the day.
Getting on the stage and just like, oh, it's really about to happen. You can't.
Yeah, I was talking a little bit. I think it was with Mel that I was saying, for me, I tried so hard in the studio so that I didn't have to worry about as much pressure the day of, and I just knew I had kind of put in the work. Did you guys notice anything different in the way you trained before a competition when you did well versus a time that you didn't do as well? Like, was there something you wish you had done differently in training?
Definitely. Like, as I said, I didn't place on the podium or anything until I was much older. It took me a lot longer than Caitlin to get my head around that whole mental side to dancing. It wasn't until maybe I remember at the Montreal Worlds, I was in the best shape of my life, but I got on stage and I got in my head and I tripped start to finish of the dance. I just couldn't get it together. And then you take your bow and you're like, I put all that work in and none of it came across. So I knew then I had to do something about the mental side of it. And it was actually the year that I did the Riverdance Summer School. Mm-hmm. And that brought this whole other perspective to dancing that I'd never seen before, this whole performance side, and that you could go on the stage and just enjoy dancing and not be worrying about the results. So it was that time in my dancing career that I saw a real change, and I was able to bring that show dancing into the competitive dancing, and I just had to go on and go, do you know what, the results are out of my control, whatever that judge puts down, I can't control that. I can control me, my dancing, and just my love for dancing. That's what I have to get across.
So have you helped Caitlin with that? Or Caitlin, how were you able to make it, I mean, I'm not going to say you're doing, I don't know what's going on in your head, but if it's easier for you, how were you able to do that at such a young age?
Well, I think it's because I started at such a young age and I always had my sisters to look up to, and I seen how Olivia was dancing and I wanted to enjoy dancing and performing to all the people out there.
Yeah.
I think I went after them.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, that's the best part of having siblings. They've lived through it and now they're giving their advice to you. And that's kind of like what I'm trying to do with the Well Winner is I've lived through it, so I'm trying to help others with it. So I'm glad it's helping you. Part of our mission at the Well Winner is understanding the connection between our mind and body. So as we've talked about, this doesn't just mean training in the studio, it means what's going on in your head. So my favorite question to ask our dancers is like, how do you get yourself in that headspace? Is there any specific things that you do the week before a fesh or a major? Do you have any routines or tics or anything?
Caitlin is the most superstitious person you will meet.
Yeah. So at my first world, on the way there, I got a book. It's the Harry Potter book. So before every major, I go side stage and I read my book and I listen to music.
Really?
Because I can't talk to anyone else until the second round, because once the first round is over, I'll be fine. But the first round, I have to be reading a book and listening to music.
Wow, really interesting. That's it. I mean, everybody has their own routine. I was kind of the same way, like the first round, just let's get it over with.
Yeah.
The first round, obviously, I think is the hardest for everybody, but that's such a unique thing to read a book, but it really does take your mind off of something and putting it and letting it relax. I mean, Olivia, do you have a similar thing, or were you very different?
I'm very lucky that there's a few dancers in my age group that we would all warm up together and we'd kind of just support each other side stage, and we might chat to each other beforehand. One of the girls in my dancing class, Nadine, she loves Shania Twain, so she'll have the Shania Twain, I'll have one headset and she'll have the other, and we'll be rocking out to Shania Twain before we go on. So I've been very lucky I have that support.
It's funny how everybody has different ways of dealing with it. I mean, Caitlin, it seems you're a little more introverted about it, and Olivia, you're more extroverted. I think it's switched for me. I'm thinking back now, and the days that I did really, really well, I feel like I went backstage and I was talking to everybody, and I was like, we've got this, girls, like everybody do a good job. And when I was like more relaxed and easygoing, that's when I did better on stage. When I was a little more like in my own self and in my own mind, I think I got caught up in that. I should have had a different activity, like read a book. I mean, should have known. Okay, so all of us are stuck at home right now. The worlds have been canceled. We have a lot of followers who are finding it difficult to stay motivated, to train, to show up to virtual dance classes that's being offered. And there's also a lot of pressure to stay in shape and stay really sharp during this time, but obviously it's going to be really hard to do that. So any advice for practicing at home and how to stay motivated? Caitlin, I'd love for you to take this question.
I like to have a timetable before the day starts, so I know what I have to get done.
Okay.
And I
It's
usually
stuck in our fridge.
yeah. And I to keep in shape, I would usually just, if you want to do well at competitions, you need to keep training throughout this time, because this is your time to get ahead of everyone else in your competition. So I like to just think of it that way and make sure I'm doing everything to stay in shape for that.
So are you focusing more on flexibility and mobility, or are you focusing on stamina and strength? Like how are you, because we don't know when this is going to be over. I mean, hopefully we can all go to regionals, but it's kind of like the long game. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly.
I think because my weakest strength is probably strength and power, so I am liking to try and get to more strength and power, but I'm also like keeping up with my flexibility and stretching at the same time.
That's great. Good.
I think it's important as well, like anybody that maybe had like a few niggles or an injury coming up to the Worlds, this is your time to rest,
Exactly.
Don't feel any pressure that you have to keep your stamina up, because at the end of the day, we're not going to be competing again until maybe the end of the year. So if you have an injury, rest it, get your mobility back up, work on that, I suppose every dancer is going to be different.
Yep. Good answer. Okay, so transitioning to the next thing, which is so important in Irish dancing, with body image. It's one of the major things that inspired this platform and our growing community. So body image and the pressures during training, I find that there's a connection with that as well. It's obviously tricky because it's such an athletic performance, and there is the element of judging that is literally based on what we look like, from costumes to our tan to the tape on our shoes. So for me, I was very aware of my body type when training because it affected the way I executed a move. Like, for example, I'm short, I'm muscular, I'm more athletic. So some girls, and Olivia, I've seen your dancing, you're able to do these long, beautiful kicks and accentuate the leg, and like, just not possible for me. So it would often get switched out with like a quick kick or a jump, a hop over. And when I was younger, it was harder for me to understand why I couldn't do those same moves the way that others could do them. But as I've learned and grown up, I understood my body a little more and what was good for it and what moves better suited my style. So do you remember any times when you felt overwhelmed or at least aware of how much pressure was placed on your body type or on your look?
100%. I went through a really, really bad experience in the past where I'd been told there were 4 weeks before Worlds and your legs are too heavy. All I can see is the cellulite in your legs, and that's not what you need to hear 4 weeks before World. We're very, very lucky now dancing with Rosetta that that's just not on her radar. She completely understands. Every child is different. Every child might need completely different steps.
Yeah, she's a dancer, so she knows.
Yeah, so she's gone through it with her own daughter, and she knows exactly what to do with us, depending on our body types. Our family, even though there's four girls that all dance in our family, we are all completely different body types. Caitlin's quite tall, really skinny legs, and where Lauren, she's quite short and really muscly legs.
Right.
Like, we have all completely different body types, and so our steps are completely different. So our mum was always really good with explaining that to us, like, but why is she doing that step and I'm doing this step? Is that an easier step? And no, mum was really good with trying to explain to us, no, there's a reason. And
that's great to learn from a young age for Caitlin as well, because I feel like you sometimes find that like I said, when you're younger, you're kind of just giving your steps and you don't know that they can be changed. Like I didn't even really know that a step could be changed. I just thought it was given to me, and then I was like, oh, okay, this is my step, you know?
Yeah.
So it's great to hear that your dance teacher and your mom is aware of that and communicates that to you.
And it's hard, you know, like if you're watching Parade of Champions and you're looking at all these amazing dancers going, oh, I love that step, and then you try it and it's like, okay, it doesn't look like her, you know. But then you have to remember everybody has different strengths, different body types, like everybody's different, so the way she's doing it is not going to be the way that I dance it. And there'd be times that even our teacher might say, I want you to teach her that step and then teach it the way you dance it. And sometimes, you know,
there's personal style. Which is so great about my teachers too, is they really allowed me to change it to fit my needs, and like allowed me the creativity to come up with things that fit my body and what was natural to my legs. So I think that's
if you go to Rosetta or Elon, you're saying like, this doesn't suit me, I can't do it, they'll like totally understand. They'll be like, right, we'll change it to something that suits you.
Yeah.
I think it's important as well to maybe try it, you know, give it a go for a few weeks. But then maybe
I was always told that too. Immediately the first instinct is to be like, nope, can't do it. But you wouldn't learn anything if that was like your immediate mind. You have to try.
Would never progress.
Okay, so before we wrap up today, I want to ask a few more quick questions from our followers. So the first one's very interesting. I can't imagine the answer being yes, but answer honestly. Do girls ever get jealous of each other?
Well, like, I don't know,
just sisterly jealousy.
Yeah, so I think it's more competitive. Competitive with each other, but we're always happy for each other. Oh yeah. Like a healthy competitive side to it.
Because if they're really good at it, you're like, I want to do it, and you're gonna push yourself.
It's like another dancer in your competition. It's a similar concept. What is your favorite major competition?
Definitely the American Nationals. Love the American Nationals.
It's always such a fun location.
So good. My first one, I was only under 8, and it was in Nashville, and that's where my mum and dad went for their wedding anniversary. And it was their 10-year wedding anniversary when the American Nationals were in Nashville. So mum was like, that's brilliant, me and your dad can go and you can do your dancing. Then it turned out to be too expensive. Dad got the boot. So me and mum enjoyed their wedding anniversary.
And it's at the Opryland too, right? That like massive.
Oh, beautiful.
That's like, I think that's where I won my first ever North American Nationals.
No way.
Fond place in my heart.
I think my favorite's probably Worlds, because it changes places every year, and I like traveling to different places and seeing places and having friends all from different places to
So you've been to, when was North Carolina World? Sorry.
That was last year.
2019.
Okay, you all
just went to that one, and then
Glasgow. And there was the Worlds before I danced. I got to go to Dublin and watch, so I liked being there as well.
What is the most rewarding thing about dancing?
Well, the most rewarding thing for me is when any of my sisters or my brother, they dance really well, and you can just tell that they just loved every minute on stage. I love watching them dance. With Caitlin, it's getting more and more difficult to watch her dance. I can't watch her anymore.
It's too scary.
The last Worlds, it's just I know she's put in so much work, and I get so nervous. I don't know how she handles it, because I spend the whole of the competition like, did she fall? I can't watch her.
That's what I'm like with you.
Interesting.
My favorite is probably watching everyone in my dance school dancing, because I know how much hard work they've put in, and I just want to see them succeed. And I'm always like there going, keep going.
That's such a great answer for both of you. The last one, and this is meant to be super lighthearted because we love all sister duos out there. But who is your favorite pair of dancing siblings besides yourself?
I like the Noctigal sisters.
Yeah, I was gonna say them. And they both just joined Riverdance. I haven't actually got to do a gig with them. They came in at the summer school this year, so I got to meet them then. But
I just love their dancing.
Yeah,
they're
just
beautiful. They're both so
and
strong and powerful.
Yeah. And I also got to meet at so at the Riverdance 25th anniversary in Dublin, they brought back all the original dancers, and one of the original dancers was Frida Gray, and she was part of the other pair of sisters that won the Worlds. So there's been two pairs of sisters that have won the Worlds the same year, Frida and Mairead Gray, and me and Caitlin. So I got to meet Frida.
While we're on that topic, I mean, that's unbelievable. Winning, not only two sisters winning, but winning the same year. I mean, I have to ask, what was that like?
Incredible.
Yeah. Because I was the first day and I won. And then Olivia, it was her day, and I was like, I just want to win the same year. And it was just so special because we got to do everything, all the celebrations together.
Yeah, that was really special.
Yeah. That's really special. Congratulations, I have to say. So we made it to the lightning round, and since you're our first sister duo, we're going to give it a little twist. I'm going to ask you a question about who is more likely to do something or who's better at something, and I want you to both point to the person you think it is. Okay. Who is more creative?
Caitlin doesn't like being creative. No. Anyway, to avoid being creative.
And do you enjoy doing like drawing or whatever?
No, but I would give it a go. Caitlin would just be like, no,
it's
just do
not
it
my,
for
it's
me.
not pretty.
Fair enough. Who has higher clicks? The long legs, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Who got in more trouble growing up?
Probably me.
Yeah. Caitlin's
what?
I think she's down in the, so there's 6 kids in our family and she's down at the bottom end, so she gets away with a lot of mischief.
That makes sense. Who is more studious? The math teacher. That makes sense. And last one, who practices more? I think we know the answer to that after this.
Deserves all the titles that she has.
So lastly, we like to end with a simple piece of advice from our guests. So I'll give you each the opportunity to share one thing that you'd like to leave with everyone watching.
Okay. I think the most important thing is to keep practicing at home and make sure you're always listening to your teachers, because your teachers always want the best for you.
And I think always listen to your body, because I think it's so bad if somebody has an injury and they're like, oh, I'm just going to power through and dance through. That's the worst thing you can do for your body, and you're only going to leave yourself with long-term damage. So listen to your body, treat it well. You only get the one.
Those are both great things to give to our followers. Thank you so much for coming on today. This was so fun to get you both on at the same time and get to know you a little better. I'm speaking for our team at the Well Winner, Alana, Heather, and myself, reminding everyone watching to stay tuned for more installations of Champion Chats and keep sending in your amazing questions for our guests. Olivia and Caitlin, thank you so much.
No problem. Our pleasure.